Here we go. So, it's late November. I mean, snow's coming, so I gotta get the house ready. Yeah. So, time to get the snowblower running. There she is. She's a beauty. So, it's an old Craftsman. 5-6 years now. Had this when I had my shop. Because I'm a cheap Dutchman and I didn't want to pay for plow service, so just got myself a nice used snowblower. I closed the shop down and put this in storage, and there she sat. So it sat for a few years now. Let's get her going. Alright, so first off, I'm just going to give her a couple of tugs. See if it'll light off. Gas doesn't smell too good. It's been sitting inside, so it's got that bumpy streak. Oh. You're all over there crooked. There we go. That's better. So let's see what he wants to run. Old choke. I do remember this one needing some choke, so probably need the carburetor. We got nothing. So let's see what's wrong with it. So, first thing we're going to check here is we're going to check for spark. So, more than likely this is going to be a fuel delivery problem just because it's been sitting for so long, and I know the history of the machine, but sometimes you get these and you don't know the history on them. So, we're going to access the spark plug, so we're going to pull all of this cover off of here, which is the choke and the kill me key, which went down there somewhere, but I'll find it later. So that's got a couple of 5/16 or 8mm screws on the top. Just run those guys out, just like that. This is going to access the carburetor as well. Take them guys out of there. And, oh, looks like we might have one more over here somewhere. Nope. Oh, just got to pop the choke thing off. Alright. Unplug our kill switch here. So, we'll unplug our kill switch here. Just kind of give this a pull. Gotta make the noises too. Oh, that freaking thing's stuck on there. So that whole deal just came apart at the connector. So we'll pull her a little harder. Oh, sweet, and the switch came apart. Look at that. That's awesome. Okay. Primer bulb. Let's unplug that. Give that a pull, and then your cover just comes right off. That's concerning. I think we can fix that though. Not a problem. There you go. Carburetor's down here. Spark plug sits way back in there. So, pull the plug wire off of there. Bloop. Got the plug wire off, and there's the spark plug. So, I think at this point, what we're going to do is we're going to pull that spark plug out of there and kind of see what the end of that spark plug looks like, and see if we need to replace it maybe, or if we can reuse it. I just like to reuse them because whatever, spark plug's a spark plug, especially in a small engine like this, it doesn't really matter. So let's pull that out of there and see what we got. So these are usually just a 5/8 or a 16 mil. You're supposed to use a special socket on it, but I don't really care that much. So regular old 16 mil socket. handy dandy ratchet. So, break the loose out of there. Came out pretty nice. Never had the plug out of this machine. So, don't really know what it's going to look like. But let's have a look. So, spark plug is wet. Kind of smells like rotten gasoline, so I'm going to guess that we probably have some carburetor issues. But let's check for spark. Make sure we got spark, and we'll go from there. So I fiddled around with that kill switch a little bit because we need to have this kill switch plugged in if we're going to try and test for spark, because this applies ground to the ignition coil when the key is removed. So we need to put the key in there. Essentially it will have spark because there's nothing hooked up here, so there's no ground applied to the coil. But let's just put it back together just to be safe-ish. Safety is our number one concern here. So how does this work? So maybe you guys can see. So that little switch down in there, it's got these little terminals here. And that little guy right there. And it looks like the key goes in, breaks ground on these two. Oh, I see how it works. So there's a little tab that sits inside there. And when these two are in here properly, so that goes into the little slot. Like that. Let's grab an implement of sorts. So just a regular flathead screwdriver. So we're just gonna take that and stick it right in there. So in the center of that, the little contacts are making contact, which applies ground to the coil, which kills the engine. So it would have run without the switch in there, but we'll put it back together in case it wants to take off on us or something. Into low Earth orbit. I don't know if you watch Ave at all, but so keys in, ground's broken to the coil, we should have spark. So with the way that spark plug looked, there's a possibility that there may not be spark there, but we'll get a look at it. Plug wire's out right there, and what we're going to do now is use a spark tester. Can't really find my incandescent test light anywhere, so I'm suspecting it's probably, well, it's one of two places. It's probably in the camper, or I think it might be in the trunk of my old Mercedes, which is at work about 40 miles from here. So we're just going to use wire. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to connect this wire to ground right here. So any piece of metal is fine. Won't hurt anything. Flip that plug wire around, and I'm going to flip this on just the rubber. So I'll bring you in here so you can have a look. So that is just clipped onto the rubber. It's not touching that contact down there at all, so it's not touching the terminal. So in theory, this will jump the spark across there if we have spark, right? Right. So let me set you down here, and we'll give her a couple of pulls and see if she got spark. Did you see anything? I didn't see anything. Oh yeah. I don't know if you can see inside here. I can hear it. So, good. We got spark. So now we know we got spark. Still leaning toward a fuel problem. Feels like it's got good compression. Let's check that too. Why not? What the hell? So, second part of the internal combustion trifecta. Spark, we need compression, and we need fuel. So, let's check compression. Compression gauge. It's a handy thing to have around the shop. So, those threads are really small. Let's see if we got something that fit that. So I'm looking through my adapters. That one's way too small. Oh, looks like it might be just, it's just standard old 12 mil, looks like. Okay, sweet. So got our adapter. That guy goes down into the spark plug hole. Thread it in. Don't go in too tight though, because you're working just against rubber here. So just a little snug. And get my gauge on there, and we'll give her a couple of tugs, see what happens. So small engine you want, I don't know. This one should probably have 70 to 90, maybe higher than that. So I'll put you here, and we'll give you a couple of tugs. Alright, so I got about 75 pounds-ish around in there. Let's try it again. Yep, same thing, 75, 80 pounds. So, in good shape. Okay, so we know we've got compression, we know we've got spark. So, last in the trifecta, fuel. Ugh. God. Burping up coffee here. I think the only thing worse than burping up coffee is burping up beer. Especially when it's like foamy and it's all gross. So we're going to make an attempt to unplug that switch again. Just kind of get this out of our way. And it fell apart again, but whatever, we know how to fix it. Alright, so this cover needs to come off so we can get to that carburetor. So what do we got here? It's like 5/16 or an 8 mil. Go with something a little bit faster. Get to that one? Kinda? Yep. You bet. Got 2 bolts out of that. Always remember to keep track of where your bolts go to. Because sometimes it can be different lengths. But whatever. Alright. Cover's off. So let me bring it down here so you can see what's going on. So that is our carburetor. This is a later model Briggs, so it's going to have no name like Chinese eBay carburetor on it because that's what they used. So these are made out of a kind of a hot metal. It's not aluminum like it used to be. Plus all the fuel nowadays has all kinds of alcohol in it, ethanol, which just wreaks havoc on small engine carburetors especially. So I'm going to get this guy apart and see what's going on. So here we go.